On Global TV News Express, Labour rejects new industrial relations policy, warns against criminalizing strikes. In business, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries Plus agrees to boost oil output in September. On the foreign scene, United Nations says human rights situation in Haiti extremely worrying. And in sports, President Tinubu lost the Tigers on 5th consecutive AfroBasket final. Hello and a very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Global TV News Express, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agmofwegbe, reminding our viewers that we are on DSTV channels 365 and Star Times 276. The Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has rejected the newly unveiled National Industrial Relations Policy approved by the Federal Executive Council, warning that it aims to criminalize strikes and silence unions. In a strongly worded statement, the Council's President, Joe Ajaero, said the policy infringes on constitutionally guaranteed labor rights and targets industrial actions unfairly. Ajaero noted that previous attempts to include anti-strike clauses in the draft were opposed by labor and industry stakeholders, calling the final version reprehensible and anti-worker. The National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives has suspended its 7-day warning strike following an emergency meeting where its national executive reviewed a signed memorandum of understanding with the federal government. The association's president, Haruna Mamman, confirmed that the strike was halted after both parties reached a time-bound agreement addressing all 9 of the union's demands, including allowances and welfare concerns. Health Minister Dr. Ali Pate had announced that the strike had been resolved after it crippled operations in government hospitals nationwide. The House of Representatives Committee on Anti-Corruption, led by Kayode Akiolu, has launched a probe into the effectiveness of anti-corruption and transparency units embedded in over 400 ministries, departments, and agencies of government, amid allegations that some have lost relevance or been compromised. At a public hearing in Abuja, Akiolu questioned whether anti-corruption and transparency units, originally introduced in 2001 by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission to decentralize anti-graft oversight, still serve their intended purposes in curbing internal corruption. Civil society organizations, whistleblowers, and public officials are expected to testify as the House evaluates potential reforms or restructuring of the anti-corruption and transparency units model. As Nigeria inches closer to the 2027 general election, power rotation debates are beginning to stir political waters. From the north to the south, different regional blocs are positioning themselves for the next turn at the presidency, with growing arguments intensifying around equity, fairness, and the zoning formula. Kabir Hassan now reports.
Power rotation has once again stirred up debate in the political landscape of Nigeria as the 2027 election draws near. The conversation now is, should President Bola Tinubu seek a second term, or is it time for a change in leadership? While others argue that the Southeast deserve a shot at the presidency, others insist Tinubu must complete his 8 years, just like his predecessor. But has President Tinubu fulfilled his promises to Nigerians? If yes, why did the Northerners are calling for a shift in power and the Southerners standing its ground? Today we are out on the street of Abuja to hear what Nigerians can say about President Bola Tinubu's regime. Has President Bola Tinubu fulfilled his promises to Nigerians?
For me, no. President Bola Tinubu has actually failed Nigerians.
Tinubu has not yet completed his promise to Nigeria.
Oh yeah, complete what? We never see anything, no.
I don't think he's completed any promise.
No, enough of it.
Many Nigerians are openly comparing Tinubu's administration to that of former late President Muhammadu Buhari, with some expressing disappointment and others asking for patience, while stating reasons why they will not vote for Tinubu ahead of 2027 election.
I don't subscribe to Tinubu being elected for the second time because his policies have not make any impact to Nigerians.
The first one, I elected him due to the promise that he gave to us. But now we not see the promise. If I not see the promise again, the second time, we are not going to vote for him.
I can't vote Tinubu for 2027, and I can assure you that he can't win the election 2027.
Across the board, citizens are also highlighting the sectors they believe the next president should focus on.
The number one thing is insecurity. That person that will have the capacity to tackle the issue of insecurity in Nigeria is welcome.
So what I really want from the next person or the next president, capability, good heart, and understand the plight of the people. We are suffering. The fuel should come down. Food should be available. It's not available for free, but at least we can afford it. Then infrastructure, road, education as well.
Thing for market, tip, transport, fuel. So now what you need for 2027 be that.
As Nigerians inches closer to 2027 general election, the question of power rotation continues to divide opinion, from calls for equity by the Southeast to demand for continuity from the Southwest and agitation for a shift from the North. One thing is clear, the road to 2027 will shape not just by politics, but by the voices of Nigerians themselves. I am Hassan Kabir, reporting for Global TV News.
Kabir Hassan, thank you for your reporting. Abuja is a city meant to reflect order and modern developments. The sight of cows roaming freely on major roads in Nigeria's capital is raising eyebrows. Residents are questioning how cattle continue to move about in an urban center where open grazing is officially discouraged. Our correspondent Ubon Usoro brings us this report.
Abuja is Nigeria's capital. Sadly, you see cows moving freely on the roads, even near the National Assembly. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has publicly discouraged open grazing within Abuja for several years. The FCT, being the seat of federal government, is expected to serve as a model for urban order and policy enforcement. Official statements from FCT, especially since 2021, have emphasized a transition to ranching and restricted movement of cattle within the city center. However, there is no specific federal law that criminalizes open grazing nationwide, including in Abuja. Instead, enforcement depends on administrative measures and area councils' bylaws. Despite policy declarations, open grazing continues in many parts of Abuja, even around high-profile areas such as Airport Road, Gwarimpa, Sokoro, and Central area.
The issue of cattle roaming the streets of Abuja is quite unfortunate, and I think it's something the government really needs to look into. The current trends that has to do with cattle rearing globally is ranching. I think what we lack in the country currently is the political will to do that.
For me, I feel it's an environmental threat, because when they move around, you see them dropping their dogs everywhere, and also it's not safe for motorists and passerbys, and the government needs to look into it. Abuja Environmental Protection Board and the Ministry of Health and Environment should also come together and do something about it.
A motorist who spoke to us complained bitterly about the discomfort caused by these cows on the road.
If I'm driving, see cow inside the town, it is payment, living payment, something like here is a capital. Even though it's not a capital, even though a state, it's a city of state, the cow is not supposed to be crossing TT express like this. The thing is payment. So unfortunately, Minister of Abuja is supposed to do something about it.
The FCT minister pledged to end open grazing and announced plans to allocate lands for ranching within the 6 area councils. However, it seems this has been discontinued.
To see how we will stop. We cannot allow cows inside the city. They can be outside the city. What is it supposed to do? Because the grasses are outside the city. The grasses are not here. These are grasses we planted to beautify the city. It is not that one that they will eat.
As residents continue to express frustration, the question remains, how long will Abuja, Nigeria's capital city, continue to host cows on its streets? For now, the animals continue to share the roads with vehicles and pedestrians on Indad. Ubong Usoro for Global TV.
From Ubong Usoro's report, now let's turn to Borno State, where Governor Babangida Zulum has assured Maiduguri residents that there is no immediate flood threat from Alau Dam, despite recent downpours raising concerns. He said the water level had dropped by about 4 inches and new channels were opened to relieve pressure on the dam. The governor also urged the residents to keep drainage clear and reviewed plans to revise the city's master plan to address long-term flood risks. Imo State's government says it is stepping up its response to the growing threat of climate change by adopting a more inclusive and community-led approach. Commissioner for Environment and Sanitation, Ejikeme Emenike, says the state government is working in collaboration with civil society actors in order to prioritize grassroots involvement in shaping and implementing climate solutions. Amarachi Ibe reports from Owerri.
In Imo State, climate change is no longer an abstract topic. From erosion eating into farmlands to seasonal flooding displacing families, the crisis is hitting closer to homes and the response is becoming more localized. To address these growing concerns, the Imo State Commissioner for Environment and Sanitation, Ejikeme Emenike, says the state government, in partnership with the civil society groups, is implementing a community-driven climate strategy. He says the initiative is aimed at ensuring no one is left out of the fight against environmental degradation.
Imo State Government, under the dynamic leadership of His Excellency Senator Hope Uzodimma, CON, has already begun laying a strong foundation by prioritizing environmental sustainability, strengthening institutions, mainstreaming climate consideration across states.
The Commissioner further urged government agencies to integrate climate priorities into their development plans, budgets, and daily operations.
It is a call to action, a call to reimagine governance in the face of climate change and to embrace a future where every voice is heard, every community is empowered, and every challenge becomes an opportunity for transformation and growth.
Executive Director Space for Change, Victoria Ibezimo Henry, says early stage projects are being rolled out in communities ranging from reforestation and erosion control.
Their mandate is basically to develop a localized climate change policy, and what that policy would do is to provide a strategic direction that will, for reducing the state's carbon footprint, incentivize renewable energy development and prioritize nature-based solutions such as reforestation and ecosystem restoration.
With unpredicted weather patterns and worsening environmental risks, stakeholders in Imo State believe that community involvement is key to building long-term resilience. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
Imo State correspondent Amarachi Ibe, thank you for your reporting. The Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, has condemned Governor Umar Bago's shutdown of Badiji 90.1 FM in Niger State, calling it executive rascality and an unlawful attack on press freedom. The association's president, Afam Osigwe, in a statement, urged the police and relevant authorities to disregard the order, warning that such actions violate democratic norms and constitutional rights. The governor had cited incitement and unethical broadcast as reasons for the closure, but the NBA insisted regulation must follow due process under law, not arbitrary fiat. July 30 each year is a day set aside by the United Nations
to mark the International Day of
Friendship, specifically to commemorate the value of friendliness. People around the world use the day as an opportunity to come together with their friends, share love, as well as their experiences on what friendship is about. Our correspondent, Zeral Nasiro, speaks to Nigerians in the nation's capital, Abuja, to highlight the essence of friendship.
To mark the International Day of Friendship, the United Nations encourages governments, international organizations, and civil society groups to hold events, activities, and initiatives that contribute to the efforts of the international community towards promoting a dialogue among civilizations, solidarity, mutual understanding, and reconciliation. The International Day of Friendship was proclaimed in 2011 by the United Nations General Assembly with the idea that friendship between peoples, countries, cultures, and individuals can inspire peace efforts and build bridges between communities. Some of the people interviewed shared their experiences on how important it is to them.
Without friendship, I don't know where I could have been by now. Friendship has been of a very great importance to my life as a person. My advice to people regarding friendship is to be honest, to be truthful, to be straightforward.
Friends are very, very important in the sense that friend indeed are friend in need. So for me, I consider friends to be people that are useful to your life, you know, by sacrificing in one way or the other.
Friends is a kind of God-sent experience to mankind, be it good or bad. If you have a good friend, you learn one or two from him. If you only have a bad friend, you also learn one or two things from him. It might come as an advantage or equal as a disadvantage.
However, some also have not so pleasant experiences on how they have suffered betrayal by persons they had considered friends.
Most of us will see friendship is a scam because today you trust someone, you trust somebody with one secret or the other, and tomorrow the person is backstabbing you. So most of us have had bitter experiences from friendship. The advantage, for me, I think the disadvantage to me outweighs the advantage.
I won't call that a betrayal. I would just call that should be a lesson to me. I will learn from that. I won't just call that a betrayal. It's just a lesson, because anytime a friend you called it a betrayal actually, but anytime a friend did something like that to you, I will just take it like, oh, this is something I'm supposed to learn. Maybe I didn't learn it from onset, so I will just look for a way and adjust it.
Friendship is viewed by many people from different perspectives. This year's commemoration is yet another reminder that rewarding friendships can be cultivated and nurtured to benefit all parties involved. Zahra Unasir, reporting for Global TV News.
What is life without friendship? Thank you, Zara, for that coverage. You're watching the live broadcast of News Express here on Global Television. When the rest of the broadcast returns shortly, President Tinubu launches the Tigress on 5th consecutive AfroBasket final. Details shortly, plus business and foreign stories on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us. Thank you everyone for staying with us here on News Express. The second part of this broadcast now returns with business. The World Bank says it will likely approve a $250 million loan for Nigeria next month under its health security program aimed at improving the country's capacity to handle public health emergencies. The project will be managed by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and targets better disease prevention, detection, and regional collaboration amid dire health statistics, including a 54-year life expectancy and over 800,000 annual child deaths. The bank also highlighted Nigeria's woefully low health spending, with 76% of healthcare costs borne by citizens, driving poverty and poor access. Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, also called OPEC+, says that to raise oil production by 548,000 barrels per day in September, continuing a month-long reversal of earlier cuts amid geopolitical pressure and changing market dynamics. The move, which finalizes the unwinding of a prior 2.2 million barrel per day cuts, comes as the group faces tensions around Russian supply and shifting global demand. While voluntary cuts by some members remain in place through 2026, Sunday's discussions avoided further adjustments. In a country where the internet connects millions to jobs, education, health, and other opportunities, the rising cost of data may become a setback to national development. The galloping cost of internet connectivity, which affects nearly every Nigerian, the silent impact might be unimaginable if proper policies are not put in place to regulate the sector. Our correspondent Sadia Yakubu takes a look at the high cost of data and its impacts on Nigerians.
Today is no longer news that Nigerians are struggling to survive in the midst of numerous economic challenges, with mobile network operators in the country systematically passing on operating cost of data consumers. In addition, the sudden increase on the cost of data subscription has gradually but steadily driven business, particularly those in the micro and small brackets, to the brink. At the height of this, questions are being asked to determine major factors driving this astronomical cost increase. We speak to a cross-section of Nigerians on the streets who share their views and experiences on this issue.
See, it's not that easy for us. So, like 2 years back or 3 years back, when I use data, they enjoy the data. If you even buy like 5,000, you go use and they do watch YouTube, watch this. But now, just like I said that they use straw. They suck it that.
Telecommunications operators recently made a strong case for an upward review of tariff cutting across calls, text messaging, and internet data services. These developments drawing criticism from subscribers as expected, seen at least 50% increase in this regard.
The cost is becoming so much that the normal Nigerian will not be able to afford. Please, the government should help us reduce it, and I think by that way, most little business that is trying to come up can go up.
Apparently, access to affordable internet is directly linked to economic growth, education, as well as success to robust healthcare services. It is often said that when people cannot afford data, they may not also be able to access knowledge, find remotely work, or sell online. As the maximum goes, the cost of data is the cost of opportunities.
It's crazy, especially when you're using an iPhone. The data finishes on time, but at least on Android it's still manageable. But an iPhone user, no.
The digital world is here, but how many Nigerians can truly afford to be part of it? The cost of data isn't just about Naira and Kobo. It's about access, equality, and the future. Let's push for a Nigeria where everyone can connect without going broke. Sadia Yakubu here, Global Television.
Apparently, cost of data has become an ongoing conversation in Nigeria. Thank you, Sadia. On the foreign scene, the United Nations says Haiti's human rights crisis is worsening, with at least 1,520 people killed and 609 injured in gang violence between April and June this year. Over 4,800 have died since October last year, with thousands more injured, raped or kidnapped, and 1.3 million displaced. A quick look at sports for you. Nigeria's D Tigers came from behind to beat Senegal 75-68 and reached their 5th straight women's Afro basket final in a dramatic showdown in Abidjan. Despite trailing by 8 in the final quarter, a spirited run led by Ezine Kalu and Victory Macaulay sealed the win as Nigeria closed the game with a 10-3 scoring bursts. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has congratulated the Tigers for reaching their 5th consecutive FIBA Women's AfroBasket final. The team defeated Senegal in a closely contested semi-final held in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. The president praised their resilience and dominance, expressing confidence in their continued success. Quite a sterling outcome there. Let's now end Global TV News Express with a look at some of our big stories. The Nigeria Labour Congress has rejected the newly unveiled National Industrial Relations Policy approved by the Federal Executive Council. In business, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC Plus, is set to raise oil production by 548,000 barrels per day in September. On the foreign scene, the United Nations says Haiti's human rights crisis is worsening, with at least 1,520 people killed. And finally, in sports, President Bola Tinubu has congratulated Nigeria's D Tigers for reaching their 5th consecutive FIBA Women's Afro Basketball final. And that's all we'll have for you here on News Express. Thank you so very much, everyone, for watching. I am Uyi Agumofwegbe. I'll see you again.